Maybe you need to hear this today. You don't have to figure everything out right now. I know it feels like you do. I know there are 1,000 things asking for your attention, 1,000 little fires, 1,000 reasons to keep moving. But maybe the thing that you've been searching for isn't another answer. Maybe it's a moment of remembering. Because somewhere along the way, many of us learned that being responsible means being constantly available. That love meant anticipating every need. That safety meant staying one step ahead. Got a little twitch in my eye. And maybe that helped us survive. Maybe it got us here. But maybe there's another way to live. Have you ever noticed that there are seasons of life where you kind of stop hearing yourself? Not because you've changed, not because you've lost yourself, just because life gets loud. Appointments, meals, laundry, notifications, someone always needing something. Until one day you realize you can't remember the last time you felt connected to your own life. I wonder if that feeling is more common than what we'd like to admit. Not because we're doing anything wrong, but because we've gotten used to just surviving or in and out of survival mode. And we've gotten good at that. And survival is loud. As loud as my washing machine right now. It's another loud thing in my... Maybe you haven't lost yourself. Maybe life has just gotten loud. I noticed something recently. The moments where I feel most like myself don't usually happen when I finally get everything done. Although I do kind of feel like I have to get everything done in order to just sit still, which makes sense. But let's get real, it's never done. There's always something to be done. But these moments where I feel like myself, they happen in these tiny, almost ordinary moments, standing outside, walking beneath the trees, looking up at the sky instead of down at the screen, asking one honest question, sitting still for 60 seconds. Nothing magical happened. The world didn't suddenly change, but something inside of me became quiet enough to actually hear. And it made me wonder, what if remembering ourselves isn't something that we actually achieve? What if it's something we stop interrupting? I think many of us spend our days trying to become more peaceful while accidentally building our lives that never become quiet enough to notice peace when it actually arrives. And so maybe peace isn't absent, maybe it's being interrupted. There's an idea in psychology that under stress, our brains rely more heavily on familiar patterns, programs, and habits. And that makes sense. It's efficient. When we're overwhelmed, our minds aren't trying to be profound. They're trying to keep us moving. And honestly, sometimes that's exactly what we need. But I just wonder in all that if we've forgotten something, not every moment is asking us to push harder. Some moments are asking us to pause long enough to notice what's already here. And lately, instead of trying to solve every feeling, I've been asking quieter questions. What else is true? What truth is here right now? Show me something beautiful. I don't ask those questions because I expect some dramatic answer. I ask them because they interrupt the momentum, the survival mode momentum of one foot in front of the other. They invite me back into the room, and they invite wonder and my realization, my remembrance of wonder back into the room. Questions wake up the conscious mind instead of living unconsciously, one foot in front of the other. Panic rarely asks questions. Presence does. And maybe that's what rituals are really for. Not because they earn us wisdom, not because they're another thing to do, but because they're little lanterns, tiny reminders. Looking out the window before opening a laptop, I see a hummingbird out the window right now. I'm not even kidding you. And a black butterfly. You guys, noticing these little spiritual, angelic messages. What was that? I don't know. It was a crazy bird. You guys. So when you see people talking about angel numbers, repeating numbers, 111, 1111, 333, those are always reminders to me that make me snap out of the unconscious mind and lock into my conscious mind. And I just always immediately Google those numbers. I was not planning on saying any of this, but here we are. I just like to receive little messages like that. I just Google it, whatever, who cares what it actually says, but it's unlocking that conscious mind up so that you can start consciously living. It's like a wake up call. Let's go. You're here too. Feeling your feet on the ground, feeling into your senses. And that's why when you get anxious, another thing in psychology, a psychology trick for anxiety is you notice one thing in each of your 5 senses if you can. But even just a deep breath before walking out the door, a deep conscious breath, not to become someone different, but to remember the person who was already there and here. And for me, the hardest part is to snap out of the unconscious mind and the subconscious programming and habits that we've patterned into our brain and our lives and our bodies and our movements. And so it's these little reminders like the rituals and the messages from the universe, from anything that snaps you out of it. That's where I'm wondering lately is how can I snap out of it and get into conscious living, basically. And I don't know that there's a perfect answer for that, because when those programs are running, they're efficient, they're getting stuff done. Maybe for right now, it is these little reminders. And back in the manifestation days, I used to like write on a sticky note. And so I'm starting to think maybe I need to do that too. Maybe that's going to be a little art project we do this week. Who knows? But to ask those questions like, what else? What else is true? Show me something beautiful. Ooh. Remember, it's like a big millennial thing too, where there's like a word written on everything, like the spoon rest and like the utensil jar, like those are like the kitchen things. But maybe we bring it back, millennials. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's bring back some positive messaging reminders. I don't know. I wonder if that's why so many traditions have these rituals. Not because they believe that God only shows up in these moments, but because they help us become available to divine guidance, divine awakening, spiritual awakening. Like, it just makes me look back on my childhood and kind of unconsciously doing what everyone's telling you to do, whether it's in religion or whatever. You don't really understand why traditions, think about holidays and stuff. Because I've been thinking about this with my kids, is like, what traditions do I want to start doing now, setting for our home and our family? And it's like, oh, this is why. I did it before and I just got so used to the survival mode that I'm just like, I thought it'd be so cool to do a Yule log and do a fire pit. And I'm like, babies, that's kind of dangerous and it's freezing outside too. So anyways, I digress. Whatever your beliefs are, most of us know what it's like to suddenly notice something we've walked past 100 times. The light through the trees, a child's laugh, a bird we somehow never heard or have seen before. The moment wasn't new. Our attention was. How do we wake up our attention, put our attention on the things that are not survival but creation? Finding the eye of the storm is one of these phrases that keeps coming back to me. Find the eye, not because the storm disappears, but because every storm has a center, a place that isn't spinning. I think life is like that too. The dishes may still be waiting. They for sure are. The calendar may still be full. The emotions may still be massive for everyone. But every now and then, there's a small opening, a quiet center, a place where we remember. And maybe that's the invitation. Not to escape our lives, not to fix ourselves, not to finally become perfectly mindful, just to notice when the lantern is lit. You don't have to become someone new. You only have to remember. So maybe this week, instead of asking, how do I get my life back together? We ask a different question. What would help me remember? Maybe it's 5 quiet breaths. Maybe it's stepping outside. Maybe it's looking up. Maybe it's asking, what else is true in this difficult moment? I don't know exactly what your answer will be. Maybe it'll be writing on the sticky notes, remember, or show me something beautiful. So maybe I don't know exactly what your answer will be, but I have a feeling that you do. Sometimes it just gets buried beneath all the noise. And maybe that's what these conversations are for. Not to tell each other what to think, not to finally solve the mystery, just to light a lantern and remember that we're walking each other home. If you found this at the right moment, maybe this is your reminder. You are not behind. You are not failing because you need a pause. You are a human being remembering how to listen again. And the better it gets, the better it gets. This has been another echo from the eye of the storm within. Remember, find the eye, and I'll meet you there.